Hey divas, and welcome back to the blog. Today's video is a somewhat requested videos. I have had about 7 to 8 people kind of email me or hit me up on different facets of social media asking me questions about moving. Yes, I have some people that are moving from home for the first time, moving from apartment to apartment, want to move into apartments, want to move in some townhouses, move in townhomes, move in a quad, move into condos and even rental houses. And they needed some answers in reference to the application process. So today's lesson for you guys is requested. Is going to be on property management, leasing 101, the do's and don'ts, the things you should be aware of, and the things that you need to look out for. Okay, now let me issue you guys this disclaimer. All right, I'm not talking about anyone's property, no particular property. I'm not talking about any particular owners, any particular managers, none of that. All right, I am just here to give you some insight on things that you need to understand, things that you need to be aware of, and things that you need to do to protect yourself, okay? So if you're interested in this, watch it all the way through. I'm going to try to make it brief, even though it may really need 2 videos to get all the information to you guys. But I'm going to do the best I can to try to keep it short as possible. That's probably going to be difficult for me because there is, like I said, a lot of information. All right. So, and I wish I had some help here. I wanted to get Shan here and I wanted to get my sister Denise here with me, but you know how they go. Shan works and my sister, you know, she's just getting over a cold and stuff. So I'm going to have to do this by myself. But hey, a girl can pull this off because she knows what she's talking about. Now, for those that are not interested in this video, do me a favor and just like it anyway, because I am here to try to help people. Okay? And I'm not doing a perfume and a handbag, but I'm doing a property management video. All right? So let me try to sit down so we can get started. I made notes because I did not want to forget things that may be important. So I'm going to drop these glasses on and we can rock and roll. All right? All right, guys. Here we go. All right. So what or when does leasing begin? Leasing actually begins when you make that telephone call to that leasing office, when you fill out that guest card online. Yes, when you fill out a guest card, when you do anything to contact or to reference a property, that's when leasing starts. It is the job of the leasing manager, whatever you want to call her, leasing manager, leasing consultant, leasing agent. It is her job to get you in that office and to get you to submit an application. That's her job, is to get you in that office and to get you to submit an application. So when you make that phone call to her, guess what? She's asking specific questions because she's already pre-qualifying you. She's asking questions so that she can pre-qualify you. Or when you fill out that guest card online, guess what? You are filling out information about your name, where do you reside at now, what type of unit you need, what size, if there's a particular type that you're interested in, how much income you make, how many people are going to be living in that unit. So that guest card is very, very important to her because it is her job to try to get qualified applicants in that door. That's her job. Understand that. So when you step into her office and she greets you, it's time to get started. Make sure, guys, also that you do some research on a property before you step your feet on that property. And let me tell you what I mean about that. When you call her and you get the rental information and you know that's something that you can afford, it's time for you to go to work for yourself. She's going to do her job, but you need to do your job as well. And what do I mean by that? Go into the office, be kind and courteous. Get it right. Be kind and courteous. Sit down and talk with her. Be specific about what you're looking for. Be honest about what you need. She can't ask you too much because you haven't submitted the application. But she can tell you this. When you submit that application, if you choose to submit the application, she's going to say, I need your ID, I need your social security card, I need your check stubs, and I'm going to do some specific things. I'm going to go back, I'm going to verify your rental history, I'm going to verify your job, I'm going to pull your credit check, I'm going to do a credit check on you, and I am going to run a criminal background check on you. So it's very important that you be honest with her. I want to tell you this, guys, up front, okay? A lot of apartments, or the majority of apartments, do not like to accept people with felonies. I don't care if it's a non-violent felonies, they don't accept felonies. The majority of apartment communities, the majority of the townhomes communities, the majority of the town houses, the majority of the condos, and rental houses, you might can get away with a little bit more because you may be dealing with a personal owner. You may not be dealing with a management company, but the majority of apartment communities, period, do not accept felonies. If you have a misdemeanor and it's non-violent, you may have a beautiful chance of getting an apartment. Okay, so understand, when you go there, it is her job to get you to submit the application. She's going to tell you, if you're really interested, go ahead and bring that $75, that $100 in. If they run a special, it may be $25 for the application. But she's going to say, bring that in with you, and let's go ahead and get your application submitted. Now, before I left the industry, I also found out that a lot of communities do not like to give the applications out anymore. Their preference is for you to fill it out there or to fill it out online, however you choose to do it. You know, and a lot of stuff is done online today. So if you fill it out online, you got to make sure that you pay them that application fee, because if you don't pay that application fee, your application is going to just sit on the desk in a crate waiting on that money. There's no sense in calling saying, hey, did I get approved? If you don't pay that application fee, you don't get approved. All right? All right. So let's go a little further. You're in her office. You're submitting the application. You filled it out. You gave her your driver's license or your state issue ID. You gave her your social security card, and you gave her your check stubs. Okay? She's going to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and process this application effective immediately, because let me tell you this, they do not like to give application fees back. If she puts your name in that system and she run your application, you're not getting that money back. You have 72 hours to change your mind in reference to a unit. But once you submit that application, it is her job, again, to go ahead and to process that application in the system, which means she's running that credit check. She's running that criminal background check. She's verifying your source of income, and she's verifying your last place where you live of occupancy. Sometimes we go back even further, because we have a lot of people have never had an apartment before, and this may be their first time renting. So we got to just kind of base it on the information that we have from them. You know, I've even spoken to uncles and aunts that have had, I don't want to say kids, but young adults moving out on their own for the first time. And I'm like, hey, uncle, did he give you any money? Hey, auntie, were they clean? Hey, auntie, did they do this? Did they do that? I'm trying to get some type of point of contact to help these young adults get a place to stay. So here's we go. Now, you can say before you submit the application, can I see something? Let me talk to you about that. What they're going to do, they're going to be sure we can show you something. They're going to take you, usually, and show you the model. Okay? The model is always beautiful. Basically, everything in there is brand new. It is super, super clean. Sometimes they even have water in there for you. It smells good. The breezeways is clean. The exterior lights are working. Everything is just perfect, and it smells good. Now, that is all good and dandy. But here we go. The questions you need to ask is this. Am I able to see the unit that I am going to be moving in? Are you able to show me the unit that I am going to be moving in? Is it possible that I can walk that area and see what building I'm going to be living in? Now, a lot of times, which is true, they may say, hey, it's not ready yet. Okay, it's not ready yet. But then you come back and say, well, what changes are you going to be making to the unit? Am I going to get new flooring? Am I going to get new carpeting? Are the light fixtures going to be changed? Are the appliances new? Are the countertops new? You know, have you guys resurfaced? What's going on in that particular unit that's going to be appeasing and pleasing to me? You got to ask these questions, guys, okay? Because you don't want to get something that you don't want to live in and you're stuck with it. Or you change your mind and say, you know what, forget it, I don't want this. And then you lost your $50, your $75, or your $100 application fee. Don't do that to yourself. Get all the information that you're going to need about the unit you're going to reside in. Because let me explain something to you. The leasing manager has a document. And on her document, it is most likely it's a leasing report, it's a vacancy report. And on that, it tells her what units are coming available, when they're going to be available, who's moving out, and who's being evicted. She works off of that. That is her Bible. That's how she knows where to assign units to. Let me say it again. Her vacancy report or her reports, period, tells her who's moving out, when they're moving out, the unit size that they're moving out, who's being evicted, when they're being evicted, or roundabout when they're being evicted, or whatever's going on with vacant units on the property. It also tells her the status quo, like this apartment has already been painted and cleaned, has the carpet installed, has the new fixtures, just blah, 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 okay? You get the point that I'm trying to make. So she works off of those reports to tell you what apartment you may be able to move in and when you'll be able to move into that unit. All right? So this is what I need you to do. I need you to do 2 or 3 things for me. If you choose to submit the application, that's fine. But after you see the model, get in your car and ride the property for yourself. Because like I said, the majority of the models are at the beginning of the property or on the front of the property, and they have been fixed up or renovated to be beautiful to the eyes, okay? So you get in your car and you ride the property. You ride up that hill or down that hill or around that curve. You ride the property. There are key things you look for. Look at the cars on the property. Look at the cars. If you see a lot of abandoned cars, flat tires, cars that registration have expired, that's a warning. Warning number 1. If you feel comfortable enough to get out the car, walk the breezeway, especially if she say, I'm going to put you in building D, blah, 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 number unit. Get out your car if you feel safe and walk the breezeway. See if the breezeway is clean. Make sure the breezeway doesn't have an odor. Make sure all the exterior lights are working. Look at the doors and make sure they're not painting and that the breezeway walls are nasty. You don't want to live in a place where everything is nasty. You want the place to be conducive to what you're looking for. A clean, tidy, well-managed, organized property. All right? Another thing you can do, excuse me, look at the people. If you see people hanging out and they're smoking and they're drinking, that's not where you want to reside. That's not a place you want to live. You don't expect to see people just hanging out all over the place. Even your children, your kids should have a designated place to play. There should be a playground. There should be a basketball court. Look for the amenities on the properties. Basketball court, tennis court, swimming pool, playground for the kids, you know. Find out if there's designated parking there, because it may be 50 people with 50 cars living in your building, and you may have to park your car 4 or 5 buildings down Is that what you want? Or do you want to be able to park in front of your building? So there's a lot of things to look out for. And this one right here is particular. Have somebody ride with you and ride that property at night. Ride the property at night. It's going to tell you a lot about the property or the place that you're trying to reside. Ride it at night. Hopefully it's quiet and nobody's hanging out. Hopefully all the exterior lights, which is the Georgia Power poles in Georgia, is Georgia Power. The Georgia Power poles are working. The lights are on. The building lights are on. The breezeway lights are on. Hopefully all that is happening. Hopefully all those things are working. All right? All right. So those are little pet peeves that I wanted to give you guys about things to look out for. And here's something else that is very important. Now, I have to get it together so much, guys. I have to get it together. Property have reviews. Property have reviews. So if you want to find out how that apartment community is doing, how the townhouse community is doing, how the townhomes are doing, how the townhouses are doing, and did I say condos, how everything is doing, read the reviews online. All places offer reviews. You go in there and type in the name of the place and you say reviews. Now, let me back up and say this a little bit, okay? Because people do lie a little bit on reviews, all right? For instance, if a person is being evicted, okay, and on my job as a property manager, and I've been a regional manager, I started at the bottom and worked my way up. In my experience, people lie. If a person is being evicted for non-payment of rent and you have really tried to help them, but you're at your wit's end, there's nothing else you can do, and they're in the process of being put out, they're going to go on there and lie. They're going to say this and that and this and that. But the key things that you need to look out for is words like roaches and rats and people hanging out and bad plumbing and bad maintenance and sewer issues and roof leaks. Look for keywords like that. If they just say, oh, management is nasty and this and that, those could be lies. Now, in some cases, it could be true, but the majority of the people that I have worked with and for are fabulous. They have been fabulous. I promise you guys, I have worked for some very good property owners. I've worked for some very good regional managers, and they have been fabulous. So I'm speaking from a perspective. If you have reviews that say, oh, the place is bug infested and they have rats running around. Oh, there are always sewer backups. I'm always getting leaks. My ceiling is leaking. The maintenance is poor. The maintenance is this. Then you may need to kind of reconsider or really do your homework. It's up to you guys. You can't expect for the property to do your homework for you. You're the one that's getting ready to sign that 6 or 12 or 14 or 16 months contract. You're the one that's going to lock yourself in there for that time period. So before you do that, do your homework. All right? All right. So let's move a little further. I'm trying to get through this. And like I said, it may take 2 videos for me to do this, and I apologize, but I want to be thorough with you on this about how this works, okay? So let's say you have submitted your application. You like what you've seen so far, and you have submitted your application. Now, the next thing is you need to get a move-in date. You need to get an actual move-in date. But back up a little bit, Gigi. Back up a little bit, girl. You're moving too fast. You submitted your application. Your application has gotten approved. I'm going to say that. Your application has gotten approved. The next thing you need to do is take that person, your security deposit or your admin fee or your first and last month's rent. I don't know, because each property does things differently. But the majority of the properties that I work with, they require a security deposit and an administration fee. Ask the question about your money, okay? Because a lot of administration fees are non-refundable. So if you decide to change your mind, you're not going to get that money back. Understand that. You're not going to get that money back. Security deposits, you have 72 hours to change your mind about that unit. From the day that she tell you that your application has been approved and you put that cashier's check or money order in her hand, you have 72 hours to change your mind. If you don't do it within a 72-hour period, don't get mad at her because she's doing her job. You can't go in there 7 days later and say, I changed my mind. I want my money back. You're not going to get that money back. That money now belongs to that property. Understand that. 72 hours is your time frame. Remember that. If you decide to change your mind about leasing on that particular property. All right? Now I can move a little forward, okay? So everything is good. Your application has been processed. And now it's time for her to assign you a unit and to give you a move-in date. Now, her job is to try to work around the date that you want to move in. Sometimes it's not possible because you may not like a particular building that she assigned to you. And you may go back and say, I don't like building D, but do you have something in building G? It looks like it's more me. And then she's going to look on her vacancy report, okay? Or she's going to look on her report of units that are becoming available, and she'll say, hey, I can get you in, I'm going to say May 15th. Now, if she gets you in on May 15th, guess what? You may be responsible for paying a prorated amount and the following month's rent. You understand that? You may be responsible for paying the proration, which is for the additional 15 or 16 days in May, and then you may have to pay June's rent. To me, guys, it is always best to move in on the first day of the month. You want me to tell you why? Because you're going to get the full 30, 28, or 31 days. How many days is in that month? You'll get the full month before it's time for you to pay rent again. Let me say that again. If you move in mid-month, you may be responsible for paying, you will be responsible for paying for the date that you move in, let's say the 15th, until the end of the month, which is called a proration. And then you may also be responsible for paying for June's rent in advance. But if you move in on the first day of the month, you'll pay that month's rent and you'll have the full month before you have to pay money again. You got that? All right, cool beans, cool beans. So once you get assigned to your unit and you guys determine a move-in date, she's going to tell you then, all right, you need to start making preparations, which means get your lights in order, call Georgia Power here in the state of Georgia, and give them an expected move-in day. Go ahead up there and, get ready to pay your deposit or to get ready to get stuff transferred. She can give you some documentation that you can take to these people to show that you are going to be moving in there, and they should go ahead and, get ready to transfer your lights. But don't be too quick. Back up again. You don't want to be paying for the repairs that's going on in your unit. Do you understand me? Right? And what I might mean by that, let's say that they're still working on the unit, okay? They're working on a unit and they're not finished. And if you go ahead and turn your lights over or turn your lights on with an anticipation of moving in on that day, you're going to be paying for repairs that's going on in your unit. You may be paying for the painter to paint, or you may be paying for them to install the carpet. All of that takes electricity, guys. All of that takes electricity. So you want to make sure that the work is completed before you turn those lights over in your name, because your first power bill could be extremely high. Okay, so if some apartments are total electric, some of them you have lights and gas, and now you have lights, gas, water, and sewer. That's a lot. So if I can recommend something to you guys, and I'm not knocking any apartment communities, sometimes it's best to try to find something total electric. If you can find something total electric to where you can have that one utility bill, then that's even better for you than having 3 or 4 utility bills. You understand? Because you still got to get your cable. You still got to pay your phone bill. You still got to have food to eat. There's a lot. There's a lot when you're moving, okay? So take that advice from me, guys, and be wise about the decisions that you make, all right? So now we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward. Before you sign your contract or your lease, do a walkthrough on your unit. Perform a walkthrough with the leasing manager, leasing consultant, or leasing agent, whatever you want to call her. Do a walkthrough with her. And what do I mean by that? Hey, I need to look at this apartment 5 days before I move in it. Is that going to be possible? Because I need to make sure that everything is in this unit is working properly. Is that possible? Most times she'll say, yes, it is. And that's perfect. If she say no, then you say, well, what's the problem? What are we waiting on? What's still going on that I can't view the unit, view the unit, you know? And hopefully she says yes. Well, then you get your paper and your pencil and you make sure that she has that move in, move out inspection form in her hand, all right? There is a form called the move in, move out inspection form. You make sure that she takes that with you guys when you go to walk this unit, and you have your paper and your pencil as well. When you get up to that unit, start looking when you get out the car. Start looking at the breezeways. And you know, you're like, okay, it's not too clean, or wow, it's super clean in here. And start looking around at the exterior lights. You want to make sure that they're working, because what if you work at night and you getting out your car at night? You need to have lights. Those lights are security for you. There needs to be lights. And you can also check and see if there are security cameras on the building to give you a form of a little extra security. Because let me tell you this, guys, security officers are not police officers. The majority of the properties hire security officers, not police officers. So if something happened to you, that can be a little iffy, okay? All right? So you're checking the breezeway. You're checking the railing to make sure that it's safe. And you're going and you're looking at your door to make sure that your door has the number on the door and that it's painted. And when she opens your door, it should smell fresh and clean. I don't care if it smells like some pine saw. Pine saw smells clean to me, but the unit should be fresh and clean. The air conditioner should be on if it's the summertime, and there should be some heat on in the wintertime. That's an indication that those two items are working. When you walk in, check your lock, your front door lock, and make sure that your door is secure and it closes properly and that the locks are working. And start looking around. Looking in your foyer, checking a closet, knobs. You know, there's usually a coat closet when you walk in. Check those knobs and make sure that the closet door closed properly and that the railing in there or the pole that's in there is secure. Walk around, look at your living room, check your blinds, check your outlets. You know, check the patio door and make sure that it locks, that the lock is working properly on that. All right? Look around. Be curious, because this is the place that you're going to be residing. Hit that kitchen. Go in the kitchen. Cut on your faucet. Open up your cabinet doors and look in your cabinet doors. When you cut that water on the faucet, look up on that cabinet. Make sure there's no leak. Let it run for a few minutes to guarantee that nothing is leaking. Check the dishwasher. Check your garbage disposal. You know, check these items. Cut on your stove to make sure all your burners are working. Open up your refrigerator door to make sure it's clean and make sure that the refrigerator is cool. You don't want to move into a place and start having problems on the first day. You don't want to move in there and have to call maintenance on your second day. And whatever you find is not working, write it down on your paper, and she needs recorded on her paper. Okay? Now let me say this. There's going to be sometimes some issues that may not be repairable. I'm going to say that. And what do I mean by that? Let's just say there's a small dent in the refrigerator, a very small dent that you notice. They're not going to change out that refrigerator for a very small dent. She's going to write that on her move-in side of the inspection form. When it says kitchen, she's going to write very small dent in refrigerator. You know why we do that and why she do that and why you should do that? You should make sure it's recorded. Because when your year is up or your 6 months is up, and if you decide to move, you will not be billed for that very small dent in that refrigerator. That is a mechanism to protect you. All right? All right. So, Everything is pretty cool with your unit. You're pretty happy. And you can't wait till your move-in day. You just cannot wait. Yes, you can. Because what I want you to do is to back your fast self up. Back it up a little bit. And you ask your agent, well, can I do my paperwork today? Because it's going to save you time and her time. It's going to save both of you guys time if you go ahead and schedule a pre-date before your move-in date to do your paperwork. So let's be fair to the agent. 2 days before you move in, you and her talk and find out, can you come up there and sign everything? Because you done the walkthrough and you like what you seen. And you want to go ahead and sign all the documents, your lease, your move in and move out inspection form, all the addendums, everything. Because she needs time to explain all of those addendums to you. I have discovered people that come to sign their documents on the date that they're also moving in, they're rushing. All they want to do is get those keys in their hands. That's not good. That's not a good thing. Don't rush, because you need time to read your lease. You need time to acknowledge all the addendums. You need time to reevaluate and overlook that move in and move out inspection form. For example, if there was something in there that needed to be repaired, you need time to go back up there and make sure that it has been repaired. You understand? Do you understand? All right. So everything is good. 2 days before you move in, you're back in the office and you're ready to sign your documents. All right. The person in the office she has set aside some time. I'm going to say about 30, 45 minutes to explain everything to you. Ask questions. If you are unsure about something, ask questions, especially about the time frame of your contract and the monies that you are paying. Ask questions. Be mindful and be aware. Now, I want to tell you this. That was my job. After she get your money, I get your money. And I was responsible for posting your payments. All right? I was responsible for posting your payments. So that was what I did a lot of as assistant manager in some properties, property manager, community manager, and regional manager. I was responsible for posting your payments, and I was the final person that would talk to you. After you finish talking to your leasing manager, I wanted to talk to you. And I would explain to you what type of property we run. Not being disrespectful or rude, but I will let you know this is a very quiet, clean community, and we want to keep it that way. You understand? So, because I want to make sure that the people that have been on my property with me for a long period of time are going to stay on my property with me for a very long period of time. I was a very good person, but I went by the rules of the community. You understand what I'm saying? I would let you know, you got to keep your cars up. I had to think about that, guys. You got to keep your cars up. You got to keep your tax current. You know what I mean? Because the owners of properties ride the properties often. And he or she or they are looking for things that you are not doing as a property manager. You understand? So I did my job. But I would talk to you, be the last person to talk to you. You know what I mean? And after I explain the do's and don'ts of the property that are already in your contract, quiet enjoyment was a big thing to me. Quiet enjoyment. Do you understand what I mean by that? That means people should have a right to enjoy their homes without a whole bunch of noise and whatever else you want to consider it. Quiet enjoyment was very important to me. All right. So make sure that you read that contract. You take the time to read the contract and all the addendums that follow that contract. And if you do that, you should not have any issues. You should be able to get your keys in your hand and go ahead about your business. On move-in day, bring Shantika, oh Lord God, not Shantika, but bring the person that was working with you a nice little thank you card. You understand? Because this person is the person that's going to have your back. That person's going to have your back. If you have work orders, that person will take your work orders. Anything you need, that will be your primary go-to person, all right? So I hope that this video will help somebody. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you give it a thumbs up. And like I said, for those that did not need this video, thumb it up anyway, because you may know a friend or a family member that may need to move, and you can give them some insight on the protocol and the procedures of property management leasing 101. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll do something else in reference to this for you the next time, all right? I love you. May God bless you and keep you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.